squirrels here.
I'm doing it.
Now then, crew, and welcome to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. Now, on this particular video, I'm just playing around with the PicoScope a bit more, and something I haven't been able to do in the past, which I think I can now do with this new scope, is to look at to capture all three waveforms from a motorcycle stator. Now, we know that the output is an AC output, an alternating current output, and those three wires, normally there's three, they will then go up to the regulator rectifier unit and be converted into, about sort of 14 and a half volts DC to charge the battery and to run the loom, to run the vehicle basically while the engine's running. It's the stator's job to provide the current flow for that. So what I'll be using is the PicoScope 6000 series. It's the automotive version, and the specs are on the back there. Look, there you go. Okay, it's a 4-channel scope. Very, very useful. It can do up to 200 volts, so we should be well within on that one. No need for an attenuator on this one. So I'm going to basically back probe the 3 wires that come out of the stator. I'll back probe those. I'll use channels A, B, and C, and then I'll show you how to set up the scope, and we'll try and capture those waveforms. Easy, and it'd be very useful for diagnostics when it comes to finding a fault on a charging circuit, because sometimes you can't actually test very well with normal gear. At least you can't test the regulator rectifier unit. On a motorcycle, they're a combined unit. It's fully sealed. It's full of gel. You can't work on them. So normally you would test the stator, and if the stator tests good and you haven't got good charging, then you'd be basically pointing the finger at the reg rectifier unit. But I'd like to capture these waveforms and see basically what they look like. Right, here we go. Right, so the first job is connect up the USB cable at the back and get that out of the way. There we go. Right, so we're going to use channels A, B, and C for this, because there's 3 fields, 3 windings on the stator. So let's start off with channel A. That's the blue wire. Put that on there. There we go. Channel B is the red. Cool. And green. Okay. There we go. Right, let's head over to the laptop and get the scope set up. Right, so we'll just launch the old PicoScope. I say old, it's not old at all, actually it's pretty brand new. Now I've got the 3 channels back probed into the 3 field windings off the stator, and the earths of each of those are put onto alternative connections within those 3. So you've got to wire it up correctly, and I'll do a little diagram for that for you in a minute. Let's just get the waveform captured. So first of all, we want 200 volts on all 3 of those channels. There we go. And I'm just going to move them around a little bit so we can see all 3 on the screen. So we'll move the green one down a bit. There we go. So we've got channel A in the blue, channel B in the red, channel C in the green. And I'm just going to change the divisions to 500 milliseconds. There we go. Right. Okay. I think we're ready to take a capture. Right, I'll start that off and we'll start the bike. Go. We'll stop that. Super. Okay, so we go back. There's our first screen. So this was the engine cranking, and then of course the engine started, and we can zoom in on that. Just do that there, look. So the output, obviously we had no output. This is when the engine first starts to rotate on the crankshaft. Engine's now sort of at cranking speed. and then of course the engine starts up, which is great. There we go. And of course we've got some sort of erratic idle going on to start off with because the output's a bit all over the place. But then it all sort of settles down. And what I want to look at is if I zoom right in and just get all three waveforms up on the screen, what I really want to look at is the phasing, because each one reaches its maximum voltage at a slightly different time. So what we can do first of all is measure the voltage, and this was at idle. I didn't want to rev it too hard. So at idle we're getting 30, you know, and when you're doing a normal test with a multimeter you'd be on a fast idle. So we're getting about 37 volts positive, and about 38 volts, 39 volts on the negative of that AC waveform. Cool. We do the same thing for the red. They should all be the same. There we go, about 35 volts. 35 volts, okay. And on the green, (32) and 29, okay. So there is some slight differences. Now what we can do as well, which is actually pretty cool, is I can actually overlay the three and you'll see how the phasing works. Oh, don't want that. There we go. So we line those up. There we go, about there. And get the third phase put into place. There we go. So close that, get rid of all those little lines. And you can see now with the AC output, the rectifier unit, its job is really to smooth out these peaks. Now if we had more phases, if there was like, you know, a 6-phase stator, 6-winding stator, then of course we'd have these little gaps in between will be filled in as well. But that's pretty good, isn't it? It's pretty cool how we can capture that all on a scope. There you go. Look. Obviously, you know, we're looking at some pretty fine detail at the moment, but there is definitely a difference on channel A. There's no little drop down like there is on these two. And that's what a scope can pick up on. It can pick up on differences. So basically, there you go. That's a stator, and how to capture the waveform simultaneously on all three windings, which is really cool. Well, I'll just close that. You can see there, look. Very cool. And then we had a bit of a trauma. No idea what the hell happened there, look. It's a bit of a glitch. Well, those two lined up. Very strange. Must be maybe a bad connection on the probes. I'm hoping. Wow. But in the main, pretty damn good. And then as the engine's slowing down, you can see how the voltage, the induced voltage into those windings reduces, because the height of each waveform is getting smaller and smaller to the point where the engine's about to stop now. There we go, look, I'll just bring those together a bit more, and that's the whole thing as the engine's stopping. So you've got on the screen there, look, the slowing down of that the flywheel that's inducing the voltage. Very, very cool. First I've ever seen that. So again, we can split those three fields, and that's how it's made up. Great stuff. Right, back to the bench. So really cool the way that we can use a scope to capture those kind of waveforms. And sure, if you had a bad winding in that stator, you would see it very, very clearly on the scope. There'd be no output or greatly reduced output. Those three were all from a known good stator. Although we had a couple of little glitches here and there, but I think that was more to do with the back probing connections as regards the the actual output from the stator. Now, it did take me a while to work out how to actually connect up the three channels, the probes, onto the stator. Now, obviously, you must disconnect the stator from the reg rectifier unit. This doesn't work if you keep it plugged in. And of course, each channel has the main pickup, and it has a ground, and you've got to connect the grounds to other windings. So I'll do a quick diagram to show you how I connected that system up, just so you've got a basic idea. Okay, not too sure how well this is going to come out on the diagram, but we'll see. So we've got the three wires that go to the stator. Got wire 1, 2, and 3. And then over this side, we've got the three channel wires, the three PicoScope wires that go into channels A, B, and C. Now, each of those have got its main pickup and it's got the ground. So we'll do the main pickup in solid, and we'll do the pickup, the earth, in dotted. Now, I've got some colours, not many. So channel 2, channel B was red, so that's the red. And channel 3 I think was green, and really struggling for pens here, but we'll do our best. Okay, so there's the green. Right. And we've got channel A, B, and C. And hopefully the green pen won't run out. Right, so channel A, I know it should be blue, but I haven't got a blue pen. Okay, so channel A was probed straight onto wire 1. We'll put a little line there just to indicate that that's where the plug is. And its ground was put onto channel 2. So what I'll do is I'll run the ground down and we'll plonk it down here somewhere, so we've got a bit of... We're not taking up too much room on there. Right, so channel A had its main pickup on wire 1 and its ground on wire 2. Okay, channel B was connected directly on its pickup onto channel 2, sorry, wire 2, and its earth was put onto wire 3. There we go, like that. And you can see the pattern developing now, and C, channel C was connected directly to wire 3, and its ground was put onto channel 1. So this is going to go around the houses a bit, unfortunately, but so its ground was onto there. And that's basically how I wired it up. And it seemed to work just fine. Although, to be fair, if I revved the engine too high, the scope really didn't like it. But idle gave us a great waveform. Okay, so there you go. That's how to basically capture the three voltage outputs, the AC outputs of a motorcycle or an ATV or an ROV stator. The same technique would really apply to a car's alternator if you had an external regulator unit. Like on the older cars, I used to have some little Suzuki Jeeps that had external reg alternators. But on a modern day car where the regulator rectifier units are built into the alternator, you don't really have access to pick up on those three wires. They're all internal to the alternator, so very, very difficult. Well, hopefully you found it helpful. Bit more fun with the PicoScope for sure. Certainly I'm learning a lot with that new tool. If you want to click on subscribe, you can also tick the box to turn on notifications, and our friends down at YouTube will send you an email as and when I upload any new videos. You'll also find me on Facebook, Instagram, Google+, and Twitter. Feel free to communicate through any of those portals, but first point of contact, if you don't mind, via the comments on YouTube. There's also now a Patreon channel, so if you want to become a patron to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel, then feel free, pop onto there. You can donate if you like. It all helps, and we're very grateful for whatever comes our way. On the Patreon page, you'll also find background information, behind the scenes stuff, special projects, things that are up and coming, and all that's accessible by patrons. And that's very much a growing part of the channel at the moment. Okay, crew. Well, that's about it. If this has convinced you need to go out and buy a PicoScope, then so be it. They are fantastic pieces of kit. I started out with a Pico 2000 series, which did do, you know, a lot of the basic stuff like sensors, actuators and things, but it has its limitations when it gets to the ignition side of stuff. And also, I wouldn't be able to test a stator output on the 2000 series. It didn't go up high enough voltage, unfortunately, and I had no attenuators. Okay, well, we'll see you next time. Cheers, crew. Over and out. Hey, tool girl Sam. How are you?
Back.
You're back! Fantastic! I know, and I've got a new shirt, so I thought it's only right that I give you a new shirt too, so there you go.
So excited for my new shirt. Then I don't have to wear different shirts every day. And as a classic Tool Girl Sam move, I am going to wear it like this. Wow, would you look at that? I'd say that is a great present for your girlfriend if she's into tools. If she's not, she's probably into tools because you're a tool. See what I did there? Tool girl shirt, perfect.